Hey there, and welcome back to Tim Talks Cooking. Today, we are talking keto, sausage, gravy, and biscuits, my friends. You heard me right. Keto, sausage, gravy, and biscuits. And you are going to love this recipe. And I actually have a friend on Facebook to thank for this. Her name is Mary Richardson Venderly from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, Mary! Anyway, I told her I'd give her a shout out. This was just such a great idea, and I don't think she intended to propose a recipe for me. She actually posted today, and I'll just read it. I got my phone right here. Just imagine how awesome life would be if biscuits and gravy made you skinny. And the first thing I thought of when I saw this post was, oh, well, I can do it. And you know what? I can! Check it out! Let's get started! Here are the ingredients you'll need to make the biscuits for this recipe. It starts off with 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. We're also going to need 4 ounces of cream cheese, whole fat cream cheese, 6 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of oat fiber, 2/3 cup almond flour. This is unblanched. You could use blanched if you like. Here we've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and finally 2 large eggs. Our next task is to melt our cheeses together. I find that this is easier if we combine the almond flour and the oat bran together at this point in order to incorporate them more easily. So I'm going to mix these up with my hands, just like this. Okay, here's what it looks like after 2 minutes in the microwave, stirring it at every 30-second intervals. Right? You can see it's kind of a mess. It's steamy, it's kind of hot. It's not quite where I want it to be. I want it to be more pliable than this. I'm going to put it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. And here we go. After 30 more seconds, it's more pliable, a little steamier, and now it's time to add the melted butter. You know, you could do this in your food processor and it would be a little easier, but I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. I'm going to stir that in. It's going to take a while. You've got to be patient with it. This is essentially a fathead dough, and I think you've seen me make fathead doughs before, and the process is very worrisome while you do it. See, look at how it's loosening up here now. This is really, really good. We're going to add here our sweetener, our leavening, and our salt. Don't forget we still have our egg to add in. I'm going to wait until this is just a little bit cooler before I do that. I don't want to scramble my egg. I'm going to get this out and knead it as well with my hands in a moment. We also want to wait until it's cool enough to do that. After blending that thoroughly and just a couple of minutes, we can add our egg in without any problem. You'll see it won't cook at all. And I'm going to do my best to incorporate it here. It takes a little while. You've got to be patient. Very worrisome as always, but it will combine. Trust me here. At this point, we're ready to turn it out onto our board and to knead it a little bit, just to make sure we have all of the ingredients incorporated evenly, and to ensure that our final product is going to be really the best it can be. Here, you know, we've got a bunch of cheese here and some stuff. This is a really kind of unusual combination of ingredients. The cheese and the egg and everything, baking powder and the flours. And there we go. That's basically it. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And let me show you how we cut this up. This is going to make 12 servings. And so we're going to cut it in half, roughly. If you've seen my show before, you know I'm not really terribly precise about the way I do these things. I'm going to cut this into thirds. And then we're going to cut these in half, more or less. And then I'm going to distribute them in my silicone muffin tin. After I've divided up the dough, I like to just make sure it's in kind of nice little roundish shapes. I don't want them to be too perfect. I want these biscuits to have a rustic look to them. In any case, it doesn't really matter that much because we're going to cover them up with some really delicious sausage gravy. That was a little small. Let's show you how we do it. I find a big one, take a little bit off of it, stick it on this one. It's really easy to work with this dough once you have it mixed together well. Don't be afraid of it, so you can play with it a little bit before you stick it in the oven. Want them to be nicely formed. You don't want to push them together too much. And as you can see, there's really not much to it. Again, you can see how easy it is just to add, take away from, and make them all more or less even. You could weigh these out on a scale. Am I going to do that? Sorry, no, I'm not. I'm really not interested in it being that perfect looking. These are going to go into my 350-degree oven for 15 to 18 minutes. While we're waiting for our biscuits to come out of the oven, let's make the sausage gravy. Here I've got a pound of no-carb sausage. You want to read the label to make sure. Some sausage is cured with sugar. This isn't hot enough to suit me. The choices were limited at the grocery store today, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of crushed red pepper to it to make it a little hotter. I've got 3 cups of heavy whipping cream here, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and our old friends, freshly ground black pepper and kosher salt. I'm heating my skillet over medium-high heat here. This has been for about 2 minutes now. I'm just going to add in my sausage. You can hear it begin to sizzle. We don't want to do it over too high a heat, but we do want it to fry it up fairly quickly. We're just going to brown this. And I'm going to break it up with my little wooden paddle here. The sausage is now browned, and you'll notice there's a little bit of grease on the bottom, a little bit of fat down there. Not too much. This is pretty lean sausage. If you think it's too much grease, drain it off, but if you're on the keto diet, you really want the pork fat, so go for it. Here we're going to start to make our gravy, and this is very easy. I'm going to add in my crushed red pepper flakes and just stir them in. That is an optional ingredient. If you don't like hot breakfast sausage, please don't add that in. I'm also going to add in our cream. And we'll want to get all of it, so I'll reach for my spatula. There we go. I always leave something on the wrong side of the table. And now we're going to turn the heat up to medium-high. I guess I turned it down to medium there. Anyway, we're going to bring this up to a simmer before we add in anything to thicken it. Here you can see our cream has started to bubble a little bit. This is where we turn it down to medium-low and add the xanthan gum. I'm going to sort of sprinkle it over and just stir it in. We want this to have a coating consistency in the end, and I'm just going to stir all that in. And I'm going to cook this with the xanthan gum until it's the right texture. You can see this is starting to thicken up really nicely. Nice thick little sauce. I'm going to keep cooking it over low heat, but I want to taste it for seasoning quickly. Very nice, but I'm surprised I have to add a little salt. I will, though. And some freshly ground black pepper. All of this, of course, is going to depend on your sausage and your taste. There we go. And you can see, look at what a nice thick sauce that's starting to make there. The sauce is ready to serve when it's velvety, like this, and when it coats the back of a spoon. Let me show you. Just like that. That's a nice thick sauce. We're ready to serve, and our biscuits are done. Here's how the biscuits look after 18 minutes in the oven. Not bad, right? They're very nice. I'm going to invert them onto a wire rack to cool them quickly. Voila. And let's hope they all come out. Look at that. And look at how nice and brown they are on the bottom. Isn't that lovely? I really love these silicone molds for biscuits and things. 2 of these biscuits make a generous serving. I'm just going to show you with one, though, right now. Here we go. There's the interior of our biscuit. And we're going to put a little of our biscuit gravy on there. Look at that. Well, all right, let's give our sausage gravy and biscuits a taste here. I think it looks great, smells fantastic. And boy, after cooking this, am I hungry for it. Wow! Let me tell you something. That is some good sausage, gravy, and biscuits, my friend. I'm loving that. I can't wait to have the other half of this serving. Listen, before you go, I hope that you will like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to this channel. Listen, thanks so much for watching this here today at Tim Talks Cooking. We'll catch you next time.